Nathan finally believed maybe his marriage still had a chance. And that's where tonight's story comes to an end. A stormy night, a marriage on the edge, and a painful truth that finally opened Nathan's eyes before it was too late. But sometimes the hardest part of love isn't falling apart. It's finding the courage to come back together again. If this story touched your heart, make sure you subscribe to Bond and Beyond for more emotional relationship stories filled with drama, secrets, heartbreak, and unforgettable endings. And tell me in the comments, do you think Nathan and Olivia can save their marriage? Or was the damage already too deep? Don't forget to like the video, share it with someone who loves emotional storytelling, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next upload. Until next time, take care of your heart, and never let silence destroy the people you love. Not glanced at her. Not passed her in the kitchen while distracted. Actually looked at her? He couldn't remember. And somehow that realization hurt more than the argument itself. Evelyn reached over gently and squeezed his arm. Talk to her tomorrow, she whispered. Really talk to her. Not to defend yourself. Not to win. Just listen. Nathan nodded slowly. Then after a long silence, he finally asked the question sitting heavily in his chest. Do you think she's given up on me? Evelyn's answer came immediately. No. He looked surprised. She's hurt, Evelyn clarified. There's a difference. Nathan closed his eyes briefly. For the first time all night, hope flickered faintly inside him. Small. Fragile. But there. Outside, the storm slowly began weakening. And inside the quiet cabin, Nathan realized something important. He hadn't come there simply to escape the weather. He had come there because somewhere deep down, part of him knew he needed someone to force him to face the truth. Not about Olivia. About himself. And before sleep finally started pulling at him, Evelyn said one final thing in the darkness. Love doesn't die suddenly, Nathan. It fades in silence. So if you still love her, stop waiting for the perfect moment to show it. Nathan stared into the dim light beside the bed, then quietly whispered the words he should have said long ago. I still love her more than anything. Evelyn smiled softly beside him. I know, she said. And for the first time in months, and honesty sometimes hurts more. She misses you, Evelyn whispered, even when you're sitting right beside her. Nathan lowered his eyes, because deep down, he knew exactly what she meant. Evelyn continued gently. She still loves you more than anyone, but she's tired of feeling alone inside the marriage. Every sentence felt like a mirror forcing Nathan to confront parts of himself he had avoided. I didn't realize it got this bad, he admitted quietly. That's the problem with distance, Evelyn replied. It happens slowly enough that people barely notice until they wake up strangers. Nathan rubbed both hands over his face. The room suddenly felt smaller, warmer, more emotionally dangerous. I don't want to lose her. I know. She deserves better than how I've been lately. Yes, Evelyn said honestly. But that doesn't mean it's too late. Nathan looked at her, and something in her calm expression reminded him why Olivia had become such a compassionate woman herself. Evelyn had always understood people deeply, sometimes too deeply. You know, she said softly, most marriages don't end because love disappears. Nathan listened carefully. They end because people stop making each other feel seen. That sentence stayed suspended in the darkness between them. Nathan felt it settle somewhere painfully deep inside him. Because lately, when was the last time he had truly looked at Olivia? When did marriage become this difficult? Nathan asked bitterly. Evelyn smiled sadly in the dim light. Marriage was always difficult. People just don't talk honestly about it. Nathan turned slightly toward her. I thought love was supposed to make things easier. No, she replied softly. Love makes hard things worth surviving. Silence followed again. But this time it felt thoughtful instead of tense. Then Evelyn spoke once more. Nathan, there's something I think you should know. The tone in her voice instantly changed the atmosphere in the room. Nathan's stomach tightened. What is it? Evelyn hesitated. And for the first time that night, she sounded uncertain. It's about Olivia. Nathan sat up slightly. His pulse quickened immediately. What about her? Evelyn stared toward the ceiling for several seconds before answering. She hasn't been herself for a long time. Nathan frowned. I know that. No, Evelyn said quietly. I mean deeper than that. The storm outside suddenly felt louder. Nathan's chest tightened. What are you talking about? Evelyn turned toward him slowly. She's been hiding how unhappy she's been. The words landed heavily. Nathan felt guilt spread through him instantly. I know we've been struggling. It's more than struggling. Her voice wasn't cruel, but it was honest. Evelyn, meanwhile, moved around comfortably, pulling extra blankets onto the bed and arranging pillows between their sides. There, she said. See? Perfectly respectable. Nathan gave an awkward laugh. I still feel weird about this. That's because you overthink everything, she replied calmly. He couldn't even argue. Eventually they climbed beneath the blankets, leaving careful space between them. For a while neither spoke. Only the storm filled the silence. Rain tapping the windows. Wind moving through the trees. Thunder rumbling somewhere far across the lake. Nathan stared at the ceiling, exhaustion pressing heavily against him now that he had finally stopped moving. But sleep refused to come. His mind stayed trapped on Olivia. The tears in her eyes. The anger in her voice. The possibility that maybe he had been failing her for much longer than he realized. Beside him, Evelyn shifted slightly before speaking softly into the darkness. You look like someone carrying the weight of the world. Nathan swallowed hard. Something about hearing concern in her voice almost shattered the emotional wall he had been holding up all night. I'm trying not to lose her, he admitted quietly. Evelyn remained silent for a moment. Then she asked gently, do you know what Olivia is truly afraid of? Nathan frowned slightly. That I don't love her anymore? No, Evelyn whispered. She's afraid you stopped needing her. That sentence hit him unexpectedly hard. As maybe it was true. Lately his entire life had become work schedules, stress, bills, deadlines, exhaustion. He and Olivia had stopped acting like partners and started acting like two tired people surviving the same house. Her stubbornness caught him off guard. There's ice outside, your truck sounds like it's holding itself together through prayer alone, and you look exhausted. She pointed toward the hallway. You're staying here tonight properly. Nathan rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. But where? Evelyn answered so casually it took him a second to process it. My bed is large enough for 2 people. Nathan nearly choked on air. What? She looked amused by his panic. Oh, relax, she said. Your family. We're adults. Nothing scandalous is happening. Still, Nathan felt instantly uncomfortable. Not because Evelyn had said anything inappropriate, but because the entire night already felt emotionally overwhelming. And now this arrangement somehow made him even more aware of how fragile and strange everything had become. Evelyn, however, seemed completely unbothered. You need sleep, she said firmly. And I'm not letting you freeze out of misplaced pride. Outside, thunder shook the cabin windows violently as if proving her point. Nathan hesitated for another few seconds before finally surrendering. Okay. Good, Evelyn smiled. That's settled. She led him down the narrow hallway toward her room while the wooden floors creaked softly beneath their footsteps. The bedroom was cozy and warm, lit only by a small bedside lamp that cast golden light across floral curtains and shelves filled with old books. The scent of lavender lingered faintly in the air. Nathan suddenly became painfully aware of how awkward he felt standing there. Tonight isn't for solving everything, she told him. Tonight is for resting. Her voice carried the kind of calm authority that made arguing feel pointless. Nathan nodded gratefully. But just as he began relaxing slightly, Evelyn returned from the hallway wearing an apologetic expression. There's one problem, she admitted. Nathan frowned. The guest room is being renovated. And the couch, she sighed, almost embarrassed, collapsed last week. Nathan blinked. What? The wooden frame snapped in half, she explained. I keep meaning to replace it. Nathan immediately shook his head. No, it's okay. I can sleep on the floor. Evelyn crossed her arms instantly. Absolutely not. Nathan Cole, you are not sleeping on my floor in this weather. It's fine, really. No. I'm sorry for showing up like this, he muttered. The roads are bad. And you and Olivia fought, Evelyn said gently. Nathan looked up in surprise. She offered a sad little smile. A mother knows. He exhaled slowly, unable to deny it. I didn't know where else to go. Well, she replied softly, you came to the right place. Those words hit harder than expected, because Nathan hadn't realized how badly he needed someone to say them. Evelyn handed him a towel and guided him toward the fireplace. The warmth slowly returned to his numb hands while the storm roared outside the cabin walls like something alive. For a few minutes she didn't ask questions. She simply let him breathe. And Nathan appreciated that more than he could explain. Eventually he managed to speak. It's been rough between us lately, he admitted quietly. Everything turns into an argument now. Evelyn listened carefully without interrupting. She thinks I don't care anymore, he continued. And maybe lately, I haven't shown it enough. The older woman's expression softened, though not with pity. Nathan would have hated pity. This was something gentler. Understanding. You both love each other deeply, she said. Sometimes that's exactly why people hurt each other the most. Nathan stared into the fire. I don't know how we got here. Evelyn rested a comforting hand on his shoulder. A woman who had somehow treated Nathan with more patience over the years than he probably deserved. Even during the rough patches in the marriage, Evelyn had never judged him openly. She had this calmness about her. This quiet understanding that made people feel safe around her whether they wanted to or not. Still, as Nathan parked outside the cabin and stared at the warm glow coming from the windows, shame crept into him. He looked like a runaway husband, a grown man escaping his own home in the middle of the night. Rain soaked through his jacket as he climbed the porch steps, hesitating before knocking. Part of him almost turned around, but before he could decide, the front door opened, and there she was. Evelyn stood beneath the soft yellow porch light wearing a thick knitted sweater and reading glasses she hadn't even removed yet. Her silver hair rested loosely around her shoulders, and the moment she saw Nathan's soaked clothes and exhausted face, concern filled her eyes instantly. Oh my goodness, she whispered. Nathan. Something about the gentleness in her voice nearly broke him right there. You're freezing, she said immediately, stepping aside and guiding him inside before he could even explain himself. Warm air wrapped around him the second the door closed. The cabin smelled like cedarwood, lavender, and fresh tea. The fireplace crackled softly nearby, casting golden light across the wooden walls. And for the first time all night, Nathan felt how exhausted he truly was. Evelyn hurried to grab towels while he stood awkwardly near the doorway, water dripping onto the floorboards. Not hearing her, not loving her the way he used to, and instead of comforting her, he got defensive, then angry, then cruel. The guilt of it made his stomach twist now as thunder rolled across the sky. He had stormed out before he said something unforgivable, telling himself he just needed air, just needed time to cool down. But the second he left the house, the weather turned vicious. The temperature dropped fast. Rain became freezing sleet. Fog swallowed the highway. Even his old truck seemed ready to give up, the heater barely producing warmth while strange noises rattled beneath the hood every few miles. Nathan pulled over twice just to calm his breathing. By the third stop, he realized something uncomfortable. He wasn't getting home tonight. The roads were too dangerous. His vision was blurring from exhaustion. And deep down, if he was honest with himself, he wasn't ready to face Olivia again yet either. That realization sat heavily in his chest. So when he saw the familiar dirt road leading toward a small lakeside cabin tucked between dark pine trees, he made a decision born from desperation more than confidence. The cabin belonged to Olivia's mother, Evelyn Brooks. Before tonight's story begins, take 1 second to support the channel. If you enjoy emotional relationship stories filled with secrets, heartbreak, and unexpected truths, make sure you subscribe to Bond and Beyond and turn on notifications because the ending of this story will leave you speechless. Now imagine this: a freezing storm, a marriage hanging by a thread, and one night that forces a man to hear a truth he was never meant to discover. Nathan Cole never imagined that one argument could drive him out into the middle of a storm so violent it felt almost personal. The rain hammered against his windshield in relentless waves while the icy roads of northern Maine stretched endlessly ahead of him like a dark tunnel with no escape. His fingers gripped the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles had gone pale, but he barely noticed. because his mind wasn't on the road. It was still back home. Still trapped inside the sound of Olivia's voice. Still replaying every sharp word they had thrown at each other only an hour earlier. The fight had started over something so small Nathan could barely remember how it began. A missed dinner. A forgotten phone call. Another late night at work. Something ordinary. Something couples should have been able to survive without damage. But lately nothing between them stayed small. Every conversation somehow became a battlefield. Every misunderstanding turned into silence afterward. And tonight, something inside both of them had snapped. Nathan could still picture Olivia standing near the kitchen counter, tears in her eyes but anger covering them like armor. He remembered the way her voice trembled when she accused him of no longer seeing her, not looking at her.